Tillman, you're heading into your last week of your presidency. Would you like to talk about how it is to come back to Dillard, where it all started for you, and what the feelings are for this weekend?
Yeah, so being a class of '88 graduate and being initiated into Alpha Phi Alpha right here on this campus, I never thought that I would ever be the general president of Alpha Phi Alpha, even though Charles Tillman was the general president when I was initiated, and he was vice president of fiscal affairs at the time. So to come back home and to, let's just say, a little bit of a personal homecoming as I come out of office later this year, it means a lot, and it means a lot that I'm here and Dillard's holding a reception. It's something I would never forget. I'm not big on personal accolades, but when I get them, I do appreciate them, and so it does mean a lot.
It's very unique that Dillard has had two general presidents of Alpha Phi Alpha. We've also had president of Delta Sigma Theta. What is it about the Dillard Greek community that creates these great leaders?
Well, I guess you can say one part of our mission statement is that we develop leaders. For me to serve with Cynthia Butler McIntyre of Delta Sigma Theta, at the same time Dr. Walter Kimbrough being Dillard president, and then me being named the president of Alpha Phi Alpha, it is a unique situation. And then you have Charles Tillman being president as well. I guess it's something in the water. Maybe it's the duck pond water that we have such great leadership. But it also shows the humbleness and maybe the stick-to-itiveness, just the discipline of wanting to do better, and to also showcase that Dillard does indeed produces leaders. And we can say something about Xavier, but I'm not going to say that because we're on camera. But Dillard does produce leaders, so it's something that I would treasure for the rest of my life, and that I hope Fair Dillard is pretty honored that all of this happened in such a short time.
Let's talk about two different things. One, how did Greek life influence you both as an undergraduate and into your adult life, your professional life? And then the second part would be, what particular about your Dillard experience do you think about as you progressed through your life and been so successful?
Yeah, when I first got to Dillard, I didn't really know anything about the Greek life. I didn't know anything about Alpha to or Iota Phi Theta. I just came here as a student who wanted to major in computer science and move on with my life. And then I was, saw the light, so to speak, when I started recognizing the Greek community, and then ultimately made the decision to become a member of Alpha. And it's not a decision that I regret. I've had many of close members from William Washington, all the way to Odie back, and both of them live in Detroit where I live. So it's been a community ever since I became a member of the fraternity. And as part of my life here, my experience being here at Dillard, I was also a working student. So I had an off-site job, also being a member of Alpha, also being a student at Dillard. I was pretty much juggling quite a bit. But I think what I remember fondly is just being with everyone, and how it was just a close-knit community. I still have a lot of relationships that has carried on in now my 28th year from Dillard. It's hard to say that, but 28 years from Dillard. And I still have very close contact with a lot of the teachers and instructors that used to be here. And so I see it as a very fond experience, and I'm glad that I came through it.
There's been a lot of change over the last few years, both in how HBCUs are perceived and the need for them in the Black community. And we go into these very tumultuous times. What do you see the role of Black Greek organizations in these changing political and educational times? And just for young people in general on campus, how should they view Greek life?
Well, first of all, we should not be viewed as being inferior to anyone. I know sometimes there's this stigma that's associated with HBCUs as being of a different class or lower class than your Harvards or your Yales or even your Stanfords. But we should uplift our HBCUs. I was just at the Alpha Kappa Alpha convention. They just donated $250,000 to the UNCF. A few years ago, I delivered a speech to the Pan-Atlantic Council in the Chicagoland area to talk about the need of supporting our HBCUs. And the bottom line is we got to give back both not only in our time, but in our finances, because that's what other universities and colleges do. That's what we need to do. We have a lot of successful black talent that comes out of these universities and colleges, and so we want to make sure that we're giving back and show the next generation that there's nothing wrong with going to an HBCU, that we do produce a quality product.
And that conception, the idea that folks may have about Greek-led organizations, people talk about they worry about hazing, they worry about those types of things. Can you talk about the future for Alpha Phi Alpha and just black Greek-led organizations in general?
Yeah, so combined, we have about 886 years of existence, with Alpha Phi Alpha being the oldest at soon to be 110 years old. Many companies did not live that long or around that long to just be in existence. It plays an integral part because you have members, if you combine all of us together, we represent over 1 million black educated individuals in this country. That means that's a lot of power. That means that's a lot of influence, and also it's a lot of networking. Anyone that becomes a member of any one of the black Greek-led organizations are instantly plugged into a network. And if you're not, you know someone who is. And so if we utilize that to its full extent, then no one should ever have to say, I'm looking for something. They should always be able to find it, because you can find your grandmother, you can find your uncle, you can find your mother, you can find your dad, who are part of this organization. And I would have to say it's something that in terms of the future of these organizations, I see us being around for a very long time. Just like in life, you have to adapt to the situations. Our past history is mixed, but however, we're still around, and if we didn't provide any value, we would have closed shop a long time ago.
Thank you so much.